For this afternoon and tonight, a significant winter storm, including heavy snow and blowing and freezing snow.
Hello and welcome to the SnowBrains podcast, where it's my job to interview the most interesting people in the snow sports industry and pass their fascinating knowledge on to you, our listeners. I'm your host, Miles Clark. I'm a professional free skier, a mountain guide, an Alaska heli ski guide, a UC Berkeley molecular cell biology graduate, the founder and CEO of SnowBrains. And when I was 35 years old, I got dengue fever on the island of Java in Indonesia while on a surf trip there. The family I was staying with was sure that it was simply a local fever because the little girl and the grandma also had something like a local fever. After 3 days of that intense fever, I was bedridden and couldn't eat at all. They called in a local healer to do a cupping therapy and massage on me to heal that high fever. I waited for the healer to come in while I was laying on this bed, and when he noisily came in, I lifted my head to see him as he walked into the room. And he was large for Java, with big arms and fingernails jammed full with black grease. When I asked him what his job was, he told me that he was an auto mechanic. I knew I was out of my breath here. I submitted and let him go to work. He used fire and glass cups and left 16 2-inch diameter circles on my back. He then massaged me so hard I could barely walk due to extreme soreness in my calves. It was one of the most intense experiences of my life. Days later, on a different island, I was finally diagnosed at a hospital with dengue fever. And I will never forget that man and his deep black fingernail tips. My guest today is Alex Ferreira, one of the most accomplished and unique athletes in freeskiing. Alex is an Olympic gold medalist, Olympic silver medalist, and Olympic bronze medalist in 3 different Olympics. But what makes Alex really interesting isn't just the results, it's how he gets them. In our discussion today, we talk about affirmation, we talk about visualization, we talk about the psychological effects of the music that he listens to even. So it was really interesting to talk with him today about the psychology and the strategies that he uses, cerebral focused, to create the results that he does. And we talk about what it takes to win Olympic gold, what's on his mind on that final run in Italy, the variations of that run in Italy, how he pulled it off doing a 16-20 double cork both left and right, his training, his mindset, sobriety, identity, how the character of Hot Dog Hans, who I love, might actually help him perform at a higher level. This is a deep one. Hello, Alex. Welcome to the show. Thank you very, very much for being here, man. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Miles. Yeah, it's an honor to talk to you.
Dude, I was nervous to talk to you. I have like sweat stains in my armpits until I watched the Hot Dog Hans videos. That made me feel way more chill. I love your attitude with all that. Well, I always ask people this, and for you it might be just obvious, but when did you ski last? How many days have you skied this winter?
Ooh, I don't know how many days I've skied this winter, but I skied last yesterday. Today was my first day off in a few days.
Okay, good. How often do you take days off?
I go by how the body exactly feels on that day. If I feel good for a week, then I'll ski for a week. If I need a day off in between each of those days, then I need a day off.
Smart, man. I love that. I really want to talk about Hot Dog Hans. I didn't know that was you, honestly, and how you came up with that. And then, of course, we got to talk about your incredible gold medal winning run and just your gold medal experience in the halfpipe in the Milano Cortina, Italy Winter Olympics this year. But first, I'd love to hear your quick and dirty backstory, man. Do you have like a 3-minute or shortened version of who you are and where the hell you came from?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, I grew up in Aspen, Colorado. My dad was a professional soccer player from Buenos Aires, Argentina. My mom was a marathon runner. So when I was a little kid, basically, they didn't know what to do with me. So they signed me up for all sports. One of which during the winter was the Aspen Valley Ski and Snowboard Club. So I joined there and then I met all of my best friends within the ski club who are still a lot of my best friends today, like Tornator Wallace, Mikey Schumacher, Kai Cathers, Dean Travers, whatever. And I remember one day in specific, the trick that everyone was doing was a 360. I couldn't do it. It was right at the end of training one day, and the coaches come up from the backyard and they're like, all right, everyone's parents are here. So today we're done for the day. And I was like, okay, let me just go back up there one more time. And I run back up there, I click my skis in, and I do this 360 and I land it. And I remember right around 8, 10 years old, yep, this is 100% what I'm doing for the rest of my life. I found it. And that's basically how I got into skiing. And then from there, I just met more friends. I started traveling more. I started doing more competitions. I started doing well in more, regional, then national, and then of course international level competitions. And I just loved it. I was the worst in the group. I just worked twice as hard to get half as much, and I loved it more than anybody. So my parents didn't know what to do with me. I had a lot of energy, and there's so much creativity and opportunity in skiing, I thought, to keep your brain occupied, because you could go your entire life and never be a master in this sport. So that's basically my sales pitch.
That was terrific, man. My video cut out for a second. So you said you grew up in Aspen, and you said your dad or somebody was from Buenos Aires.
Yeah, my dad is from Buenos Aires, Argentina. He was a professional soccer player. He played a few games for River Plate back in the day. And
Damn.
yeah, and then my mom was a marathon runner, so I came from genes of athleticism.
That doesn't hurt, man. Y hablas español entonces también.
Un poquito, no.
Okay. Well, we'll work on that, man, because I've spent 15 ski seasons in Argentina. I love it down there.
That's
You should
great.
come down there.
I
I don't.
spend more.
I don't really hit jumps down there, but I could show you some good skiing.
If there's deep
So
powder, then I would hit some jumps into that.
there you go. I mean, the skiing down there, I think, is out of this world. Literally out of this world, especially when you get down in deep Patagonia. That's a whole other thing, though. So thank you so much for that backstory. I love that, man. I love to hear where people come from and where they're at and where they're headed. I just watched your 3 Olympic finals runs in the Olympics, and it's hard to understand even for a regular skier, but for people who don't even ski that much, how does someone get this good at skiing?
Yeah, good question. It just takes a whole heck of a lot of time, dedication, and certainly some big falls, but for the most part, just absolutely loving the sport for what it is. And the technical answer to that is tons of trampoline, rollerblading into airbags, rollerblading into foam pits, skiing into airbags via snow and plastic, all sorts of different training mechanisms, and tons of repetition is what can allow someone to go far in a sport like this. And that's basically my story. I just worked extremely hard, and I did a lot of the same things in a row, a lot of monotony there. But for the most part, I just practiced.
And probably all summer long too. What's your regiment like? I mean, just give me a simple breakdown, and even if it's not perfectly accurate, weight training versus cardio versus jumping into airbags versus actually skiing.
Certainly. So I'll give you the analytical approach, but basically Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, an hour in the gym, every single day on the trampoline and on rollerblades into an airbag or into a foam pit.
Every day.
5 days a week, yeah. And then
Wow.
Tuesdays would be yoga and sprints, and Thursdays would be switching off between mountain biking and road bike cycling. So that way you're blending the cardio and all that stuff. And then every day, hot tub and steam, hot tub with affirmations saying like things, I am the 2026 Olympic gold medalist. And then
Wow.
visualizations in the steam room, usually going through my run 3 times through, just going over exactly every little piece, visualizing where it's going to be, the different conditions that it could be, really getting into fine-tuned detail. And then obviously the recovery, tons of massage therapy once a month, physical therapy usually once a week or once every other week, chiropractic therapy, dry needling, hyperbaric chamber, cryotherapy, you name
Whoa.
it, just doing it. Absolutely.
This is very high level stuff. And how does someone get into this? I mean, I'm sure you have to be qualified to be on the ski team to get into this stuff. It sounds expensive too. How do you pay for all this? How does this all work?
Yeah, it's a great question. It is super expensive. I was in a wonderful position of a lot of scholarships through the Aspen Valley Ski and Snowboard Club, and then grants once I started to make the US ski team and beyond. Then a lot of the fundraising dollars from the US ski team came to us via our team, the Halfpipe team in specific. So it was basically, I worked really hard and put myself in luck's way, and I was able to get sponsorships and have organizations like the US ski team come through and front a lot of the expense load. So I would say if you're looking to make it cheaper on yourself, the better you get, the easier that becomes.
Well, that was my guess, is that you've essentially qualified into these positions and where people and organizations, I should say, are very willing to help you. But I got to take a step back because I love the hippie shit that you said earlier, the affirmations. Tell me more about that. You're doing that in the steam room, in the sauna. Tell me more about the affirmations.
Yeah, I guess basically people think it's this woo woo thing, as you said. And I kind of thought the same, but I would just say, hey, I, Alex Ferreira, I'm going to win the 2019 X Games. And then it actually happened.
And how much do you say it over and over? Is it sort of a mantra? How much
I
time do
say
you
them
spend
in
on that?
5 minute increments. So I would say
Wow.
one affirmation for 5 minutes. And while I'm saying it, I'm actually thinking about that action. So the 2019 X Games gold medal, me stepping onto the top of the podium with my skis above my head. And that's literally how it happened in reality.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that kept coming up, that kept being a thing. And it's the exact same thing for the 2026 Winter Olympics. I was saying that over and over and over again, visualizing myself stepping on the podium, visualizing myself landing these runs at the Olympics, and boom, then it happened. It's hard to believe. It's absolutely manifesting destiny. It's Conor McGregor. It's all the sports greats of all time. That's what they say and talk about.
And where did you learn this? Who taught you this? And who made you do this? Who pushed this for you?
I wouldn't say anyone in particular pushed me. It would just be a curious drive. I was watching a ton of YouTube, just like a lot of people these days. I go down the YouTube rabbit hole and I would just watch these videos that were, I thought, nonsense, but ended up being very, very strong drivers in my life. So, and then you start reading books about it or self-help books, whatever. And then you start listening about Tony Robbins and that gets you over to Tim Ferriss. And all of a sudden you just have a plethora of information. And if you listen to what these people are saying and actually put them into practice, these mechanisms, then it can change your life. And that's what happened to me. It literally changed my life.
I love hearing about this, man. And I'm going to ask a couple more questions because, one of the things, I watched one of those ESPN for 30 for 30s, and I forget the coach name, but he was like Coach V, and he had a really weird last name, and he was either Duke or North Carolina. Basketball fans are going to kill me. But they used to, in the gym, they would practice cutting down the nets. They would get out that's what they traditionally do when they win the championship. Mm-hmm. They would get out a ladder and they would be like stoked and high-fiving and they'd cut down the nets and hugging. And I just thought, God, that is so over the top. But you might be able to argue it worked because he ended up winning the championship with one of those teams. And so you said 5 minute increments, and maybe you said it and I didn't hear it. And then how long do you do that for? Like, can you give me the exact data on because I know all of us would love to do something similar.
Sure.
Or at least aspire to it.
It depends on the day, but I like to at least make it to 55 minutes. So
you do it for that long?
Yeah.
Wow. And it's in one big session.
One big session. So I start in the hot tub. I say the affirmations for 15 minutes. Then I get into the steam room for 30 minutes or the sauna. So that's 45. And then while I'm changing out of the sauna, aka putting my stuff on and getting ready to leave, I say the last 10 while I'm walking to the car or to my bike or whatever it is.
Wow, that's incredible, man. Thank you for sharing that. That is the kind of thing that it really separates. Do you have teammates that do similar affirmations and visualizations?
I think so, and I was always trying to do it around them and let them know, hey, this is something that I'm doing. You might like it. I stopped doing it kind of later on in my career because I didn't want to feel like I was pushing anything on anyone. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. I just really figured out a secret formula that works for me.
Wow. All my other questions feel obsolete now, but I am curious. Within skiing itself, and I know sometimes when you're training, you probably don't have time to do a lot of free skiing or backcountry skiing or big mountain skiing. But what does your balance look like? I was even wondering, do you even like hit park jumps because you're so good at halfpipe? But of course you do.
Yeah. I mean, I would say I'm a soul skier. I look forward to two things in this world, and it's slushy spring park laps and it's deep, deep powder days. So we've been getting a lot of that the last couple of weeks in Aspen, and especially across the Western United States. It's been so warm. So I've been able to shred a ton on snowmass and buttermilk, and it is deep, deep slush. And that's what we love as free skiers because it's softer, it's better, it's sunny, it's just awesome vibes.
I love that too, man. Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, like I'm actually going to go park skiing tomorrow at Park City.
Good.
And I'm nervous about doing backflips and 360s. So, I mean, and after watching your run, it's like, anyway, what you can do on skis is phenomenal. But I'm going to use those affirmations because I know I can do it and it's something I'm comfortable with, but it still makes me nervous. And so I think the strategy that you use really help maybe cut some of that and help you get to where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing about the affirmations I would say is if you do them consistently, I did them for 5 days a week for however many weeks out of the
5 days a
year
week.
and for however many years. And that compounded on itself, right? It's the same thing as if you put in an investment or something. It would compound over time. The same thing happens with your affirmations. They just compound over time until they become real. And then you assert new affirmations and you go for your new goal or your new project or whatever it is. So I would just say the last little bit is try and be as consistent as possible if you're going to do them.
I love it. It's almost a form of meditation, but with a real focus, with a real goal. I love that, man. Thank you. I'm going to start today. I do a little bit of meditation. I do a little bit of affirmation, but that's another level, man. 55 minutes. I'm really impressed. And I'm curious, how long have you been doing that? Because my next question is really to take us through your first Olympics in 2018 and what really stood out for you there.
Yeah. So it was interesting. Right before the 2018 games, I was introduced to this woman who was a sports psychologist, and she really got it into my head, hey, you should really be visualizing the runs. So she had me write out a whole dissertation on what my run was going to be. Then we would go through it with my eyes closed and her saying, oh, and you're so high in the air there after whatever I'd written out. That became a tremendous tool as well. So I think that honestly is what separated me from a lot of the pack in the 2018 games and going into my first Olympics. I just felt kind of like super confident going in. I was nervous about the skiing. Of course, you're nervous going into a competition. If you don't feel that, that's not good.
Something's wrong with you.
Yeah, something's wrong with you. You should be feeling extremely nervous. I was still extremely nervous, but at the same time, I was confident in my skiing and I was going really big and I was just feeling great about where I was on the earth at that point in my life. So I would say that really helped. And then I just kind of started getting more serious, I guess, or taking myself more seriously going into that games. And that's when I started doing the more gym time, the trampoline time, the more regimented schedule, going to sleep early, not chasing girls, not getting drunk, not going out and partying, not whatever. I was doing all that stuff earlier on.
And how old were you in 2018?
23.
Okay, so it's hard to do these things. People need to understand at that
Yeah,
age.
especially in the ski industry. I don't know if very many people are familiar, but like the ski industry, people have a lot of screws loose. Everyone loves to party, myself included from time to time. Like we have a great time. But yeah, I stopped. I kind of curtailed those aspects or characteristics of my life, and then I started applying them and introducing more positive things, and that's what really, I guess, kickstarted my career, like got me going in the Olympic fever or Olympic world.
And I can't stop coming back to this. Sorry. So the 55 minutes, it's affirmations and then for 5 minutes or so, and then visualizations for 5 minutes or so, and alternating. Was that what you said?
It is, I guess, to get even more specific. Okay, so it is 15 minutes in the hot tub. Then from there, the hot tub is right next to the steam room at the club that I go to. Then I walk into the steam room, and during that period, I do 5 minutes of affirmations, like 2 sets or 3 sets more. And then I do 10 minutes of visualizations. 3
so you
runs
stick with
within each visualization, and then I go back to the affirmations for another 10 to 25 minutes, whatever it is.
So the affirmations take more time than the visualizations. Interesting.
Way more
And
time.
so, yeah, okay, interesting. I like that. So just getting yourself there and then the visualization.
Sorry, it's the subconscious. The subconscious is always listening, even when you're sleeping, right? The conscious is not always in control, not always driving the vehicle. So if you can program your subconscious, aka the affirmations, whether you're thinking about it or not when you're saying it, it's okay because it's still going through the brain.
I like that. There's a book called Incognito by Dr. David Eagleman. And the book is more or less about what you're talking about, conscious versus subconscious. And he describes it as your subconscious is a huge super tanker ship. Your consciousness is a small hull in that ship.
Exactly.
And so I thought you'd be able to relate to that. And that always hit me really hard. It's like your subconscious is basically, you're almost always in autopilot.
Yes.
And that's your subconscious. When you drive to work and you don't remember driving, little things like that. And so he even taught me, use your left hand to eat. Use your left hand with chopsticks. Things like this turn your brain on, might even lead you to not getting Alzheimer's, but it's just going to exercise some neuroplasticity.
Absolutely. I brush my teeth with the left hand all the time. Just to
So hard, dude.
It's
Okay,
so
with the electric, it's easy, but with the manual, the left is pretty hard.
Yeah.
But at this point, I can use my left hand for quite a lot of things. Maybe even sometimes throwing a frisbee, whatnot. Because after reading that book, it's like, all right, I need to exercise this muscle because we do think and understand mostly that it's the most important one.
Absolutely.
So let me take you back to Korea, South Korea, right? Pyongyang.
Mm-hmm.
In 2018, you won that silver medal. It's a big damn deal for a 23-year-old. What did that feel like in that moment? Especially you've been doing your affirmations, you've been doing your visualizations. What did it feel like to walk away with that freaking medal in your hand?
I mean, it felt amazing, and it was great vindication to know that what I was doing was working. And I'm always extremely, extremely happy and grateful when I'm on the podium. But of course, being so close to winning, you're like, oh, wow, well, I could win though, too. So, one of the most beautiful things that's ever happened to me. And on top of that, it still made me hungry afterwards. I still wanted to, it left me coming back for more.
And so you did. So you came back in 2022, which I believe was Beijing, which must have been a weird Olympics. Maybe you can tell us more later about the COVID Olympics. But you got the bronze medal this time in the halfpipe. And so how did that through line feel? You got the silver and you wanted more and you came back and this time you got the bronze. Tell me, how did you feel that time walking away with the bronze in your hand?
I felt great because the particular day of our competition, it was extremely dangerous and scary. And I mean,
Why was it?
there were 30-mile-per-hour winds. It was probably 10 degrees Fahrenheit, but with the wind chill, it was saying it was like -30 or something. It was super cold, regardless. Windy,
Whoa.
gray clouds, just not an ideal. You could see on everyone's face showing up to the event that no competitor wanted to be there that day, myself included. So to be able to come out on the podium and have a bronze medal, a different color from silver, I was super, super grateful and happy. But again, I thought, okay, well, I'm so close. I could go back and get gold. So I felt like I achieved something, but I was also feeling that there was more meat on the bone to come back.
I read a psychology report, and you got to take all these with a grain of salt. But if you've been through this experience, having won a gold, I guess all three, gold, silver, bronze, who do you think is happier? People that win silver or people that win bronze?
People that win bronze, for sure.
And why?
Because it's way better than fourth place. You're still on the podium. When in second, you're thinking, well, I could have won.
That's exactly right. So people with silver medals are less content than people who win bronze medals, because the bronze is like, I got a medal. This is amazing. And the silver is like, God damn it, I could have won. Yeah. So I thought if anybody understands that, it's you. And so coming into this year, 2026, in the Olympics, halfpipe, was anything different for you mentally, physically, emotionally?
I think the biggest difference for me going into this games was the amount of self-pressure I was putting on myself.
And
Tell
me more.
Me putting on so much pressure just kind of, I don't know, it made me feel like it was a do or die moment, a knees weak, arms are heavy moment, as Eminem would say. I just felt like I was telling so many people I'm going to win the Olympics, and I was telling myself that, and then all of a sudden the Olympics came around, and I was thinking, oh shit, well, I've got to do this kind of now. It was a lot of pressure. I'm super, super grateful of the result. I'm even more grateful that it is over and I can finally breathe, and all of this pressure is now off of me. I've relieved myself of that pressure.
We'll fast forward because you're getting there already. What was the feeling? Because there's a moment, right? You're standing there, the cameras are on you, they have you stand in that special spot, and then it's you won the gold medal. What was that feeling? What, the elation? Was it bigger relief? What emotions were you feeling, and which ones were the biggest?
At first, Brendan landed his run. I was thinking, oh yeah, Brendan won, no doubt. And then the score came in, and I couldn't really see the screen, but it basically said third place for Brendan, and I was thinking, oh, there must be some sort of malfunction.
That's the Canadian guy.
Yeah, that's Brendan McKay. He's the Canadian. He was the last person to drop in, and he landed a phenomenal run. And then
no pressure.
I thought there was some sort of something wrong with the Jumbotron, maybe. And then the full screen came out and it still said third place by his name and first place by mine. And I still can't even fully believe it, actually. I still have to drive over to my mom's house and see what color the medal actually is. Because I keep having these horrible reoccurring nightmares that something else happened.
Oh, I'm sure, man. I'm sure that you get those kind of dreams. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So, but tell me about the relief. Did you feel it at that moment, or did that come later?
I immediately felt relief, yes. I still don't quite believe it, but I still feel tremendous amounts of relief, even though we're a month and 3 days away from the contest.
And I am curious, this question is just popping in my head. Are you getting tons of reach outs from news, from people like me, from sponsors? Are lots of opportunities coming your way right now?
Yeah, certainly being pushed and pulled in many, many different directions, and that's a good thing. It's a very positive thing. I've met unbelievable people along this road. I've gotten to do some great interviews with yourself and others, and it's been an exciting time. It's exciting to celebrate the medal with everyone because it just gets people juiced, myself included.
Absolutely, no question, man. And so this is almost too technical for most everybody outside of park skiers, honestly. But I just learned that when you did the double cork 16, is it a 1620 or 40? 1620?
1620, yep.
So when you do the double, it's 4.5 spins. Is that right? So when you do this double cork 1620 in the half pipe, you can do it both ways. So you can do that spinning to the left and you can do that spinning to the right. That blows my way. I can't even spin a 360 to the right. So how many folks out there can do this trick both ways?
In competition, you're probably looking at 7 guys who can do it. I've been doing it for the longest besides Nico Porteous. Nico Porteous did the trick first, and he's the winner of the 2022 Winter Olympic Games.
Wow.
So, yeah, for the past 3 seasons, I've had the back-to-back 16s, and they've helped me podium at 18 out of the last 19 events. And
Whoa.
yeah, so
And so is that kind of the trick right now, or at least for you?
it's certainly a trick that you need in your repertoire now, but I would say it's not the trick anymore. You kind of got to be forward thinking and thinking more creative dimensions to probably beat that in future competitions.
Not long ago, it looked like triple corks were going to be the normal in the half pipe for skiers. It looks like in snowboarding, am I wrong? They're doing them more consistently. Why or why not are people doing triples in ski half pipe?
You're absolutely right that snowboarders are doing way more triples, no question. They're doing multiple triples in one run. That's what it took to win in Milan for Yuto. And some skiers are doing triples, that being Luke Harold did the first triple in competition at World Championships last year around March 30th in Silvaplana, Switzerland.
Wow.
And then you have people like Finley Melville Ives doing triple corks into the airbag. I'm not so sure if he's done one on snow yet, but he probably has. And even Hunter Hess has done a triple as well in the pipe. So I think you see more triples in snowboarding because of the actual sport. In snowboarding, you're on one plank of wood, whereas skis you're on 2 planks of wood, and you all 4 body parts are separated. So it's harder to get into a tight knit, rolly, flippy rotation. So the snowboarders definitely have a bit of an edge on that. I'm not saying it's any easier. I'm just saying their physics maybe work a little bit better for it. We'll see what happens. Every time I think there's going to be a ceiling, the ceiling gets dramatically pushed up, and the sport of free skiing goes further and further than I ever thought was possible. So I'm sure we will start seeing triples in the half pipe for skiers very, very soon.
How much longer do you expect or plan or want or have any idea around how much longer do you want to be at the highest level in half pipe?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I am only going to keep going so long as I feel like I can win, because once you feel like you can't win, you kind of start begging the question of, well, what am I doing it for? And not everything is about winning, but when you are putting your life on the line in such a scary discipline like halfpipe skiing, you better be getting a big reward for that risk. So that's where I draw the line.
Because when you hit the deck, it's really, really noticeable in half pipe, especially. And
Yeah.
the deck being the top of the half pipe. Because
Right.
one of your teammates hit the deck in the Olympics. I forget who. And he looked like he was okay, but I didn't see the result, the final
Yeah,
result.
Nick Yepper hit the deck on his
Nick.
third and final run, and
Mhm.
he was okay. He's a true warrior because it was
It looked
definitely a
bad.
hard crash.
Yeah. And actually, and I have another question here that I am curious. In your third and final run in the gold medal round of the half pipe, you added a double cork. It looks like it. That wasn't in your first two runs, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And was that on the fly? So basically, I think you were doing four double corks and a single cork, which is still an amazing run. And the announcers kept saying, "Oh, this is his like mellower reset trick." And then you scrapped that and you just did five double corks on that third run, and that's what got you your best score. That led to you winning the Olympics. Was that on the fly? Was that the plan? Was that a potential progression? Tell me about that third run.
Yeah, so the third run was the hardest run that I've ever landed cleanly and done well.
Wow.
And I decided that I wanted to do, originally I had planned on doing the five double corks in the second run because I was planning on landing my first run. But I
Mm-hmm.
kind of touched my butt on my first run. So the second run, I just wanted to get a good rundown because once you get a good rundown, it's like an unlimited amount of confidence. Kind of, you're thinking, wow, you just so much stress is relieved once you land a run, especially at the Olympic final because it's so intense and because so many people are watching and eyeballs and cameras and whatever. It's just a bigger show. So yeah, the third run was I was planning on doing the third run on the second run and then amping up the third run on top
Oh
of that.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's kind of the name of the game, especially at the Olympics. There is not everything's going to go according to plan. For example, we were supposed to have 3 days of training,
Mm-hmm.
then a day of qualifying, and then a day of finals, right?
Mm-hmm.
The day of qualifying was really bad weather, so they couldn't run the event. So then we have qualifiers and finals in the same day.
No way. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and everyone,
Damn.
luckily I had been through this before, but if you've never been in a qualifiers and a finals in the same day, it's a lot of energy being expended. So you really need to be able to ration and peak at the right time. So for the third run for me, it was like, oh, now is the time to peak. Everything didn't go according to plan, but I don't think everything went according to plan to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So get in the game here. Let's do this thing, you know?
Unreal, man. And what's that? I mean, I love the affirmation and I love the visualization. And I almost wonder, does that lead to you almost blacking out on those runs? So like on your final run, on your third run, do you have mid-run consciousness? Do you have mid-run memories, or is it just automatic at that point?
I would say I do have mid run consciousness, but it is
Mm-hmm.
focused at the task at hand.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm coming down, say I land the switch right dub 10 Japan, and I'm coming across the flat bottom, I'll say something like, okay, pop hard, but not too hard here.
Oh wow! So you'll feel your speed and like you'll make adjustments.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back and forth to what you're saying. Sometimes it's conscious, sometimes it's autopilot, blackout. Like sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's almost better not to think
Mm-hmm.
because then you just do. And I've actually told myself before runs, stop thinking so much. Stop thinking so
Mm-hmm.
much. It's it's this weird game. It's so weird.
Yeah, I remember we talked to Jeremy Bloom, if you remember him. He was like
I
a
love Jeremy. Huge
yeah, all right. Yeah, I knew you.
absolute
I knew you'd
fan.
be stoked on him. He was a great podcast guest, and he said he was always taught mind like a river in the starting gate, meaning any thoughts get in the river and they float away. And it's just like any thoughts just go away. Just clear your mind. Really be here now. And we have this thing in Palisades, Tahoe, and you know where that is, called the chimney. And to us, to me, it's really scary. And I can never remember skiing it because I visualize it so hard. I don't actually do affirmations, so that's something I need to start doing. But I visualize it so hard. When I stand there and my skis tip in, that's it. That's the last thing I remember. And then I'm like coming out of the gate, coming out with speed and trying to get my speed back under control. And I kind of love that. People ask me like, "What's it like?" I'm like, I kind of black out, man. Like I feel like I'm so prepared mentally that I just turn off my mind, and I do. And so yeah, I don't want to like make it sound dumb or anything, but I think that's just if you've done the mental prep, sometimes that can happen. So I love hearing your answer.
Yeah, just turn it off sometimes.
Absolutely. So you won this gold medal at 31 years old, and to me that sounds very young. And half pipe, is that old AF?
That's old AF. Yes,
Yeah.
100%. I'm Unk running around here apparently.
Nice, man. Yeah, how old were your competitors for the most part?
I think I'm the third oldest. Nick also being 31, just a few months older than me, and then
Okay.
Dave Wise being 35, I want to say.
Okay, wow. And so tell me, why is that old in the half pipe?
I think that's old in the half pipe because I mean no one's really gone past 31. I think Mike Riddle was right around that age. Dave, I guess, has gone past because he's 35. But I don't know. Maybe it's probably from the all the impacts over time. Just over
Hmm.
time, the body can't handle that many impacts, or it can, but it starts to not feel as great, especially with the bigger ones. And we're landing on pure ice from 20 plus feet in the air sometimes. So it's just got to be, if you're going to be doing it when you're older, you have to be even more precise.
And probably even more training. And
Yeah.
I'm curious about the mind body connection there too, because what I've noticed as I've gotten old is I've taken the hits, I have the injuries to prove them, and my mind isn't always there. So it's like, ooh, like here comes that jump, like, I think I'm gonna skip it, or just an example like that. Like my mind knows, like, can you take that hit today, right now, at this age? Do you need that? And I think that's part of why I think a lot of us walk away from that level of skiing in our 30s.
Yeah. It's just those continuous pop, 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 pop that,
And that's
that
when it
I
goes
personally
right.
can't take.
So I'm
Yeah.
curious about when it goes wrong. What injuries have you sustained?
Yeah, absolutely. I have had one broken left clavicle, one broken left thumb, and a frame surgery performed on my C5, C4,
Ooh.
C5, C5, C6 vertebrae.
Tell me
So,
more about that. What's a frame anatomy?
frame is basically across down your spine, you have your nerve endings coming out. A few years ago at an event called Nine Nines, I did a 540, but I overshot the jump and went to 630, and I went like 110 feet and
Ooh.
landed sideways and mouse trapped on my neck.
Oh.
Super bad whiplash. For a while, I was okay, and then afterwards, about 2 years in and going into the next Olympics or the 2022 Olympics, like my whole arm was going numb, and I just, no
Ooh.
matter if I rested all day or if I trained all day, I was just in pain. So the frame is essentially I had a small annular tear in the disc, and when that happens, the disc compresses. The
And
disc
this is the
compress
for our listeners. That's the disc between the vertebrae.
exactly the disc
It's
between
like
the
the
vertebrae.
cushion.
Yes, the mini jelly cushion exactly.
Hmm.
That small annular tear causes the disc to compress, and when that happens, it causes the bones to actually come closer and basically choke your nerve endings. And when you choke your nerve ending for too long, the nerve will die and you'll lose like all feeling in your hand, whatever. If it's for that long and if it's that serious of an injury. So they did it and they basically just shaved the bone so that the tendon or the nerve ending could breathe outward. And
Mm.
once I did that, I was feeling a lot better. And then to another point, the woo woo stuff. What else do you do along the training day? I saw my neighbor in the front lawn and she had her feet on the grass and I was like, Carmi, I've never seen you. You're just like standing in the grass. What are you doing? And she was like, oh, I'm grounding. And I said, what is grounding? And she sent me this YouTube video, the grounding of the earthing documentary. And then she had some books along with it. So then after this surgery, I was still in pain and I thought, okay, well, I'm willing to try anything. So I just started grounding, standing on the grass with my bare feet. You can stand on dirt, you can stand on sand, the riverbed, the ocean floor, whatever it is. You're getting the earth is negatively charged and you're receiving the earth's electrons by being barefoot on the ground essentially. And when this happens, inflammation is being reduced from your body. So think about it from the ground wire in your outlet. The bottom outlet is the ground wire. That wire goes through the ground so that no fires or explosions, aka inflammation, happens in the home, right?
Hmm.
So I started this grounding thing and I was totally forgot I even had surgery. My body felt so good. So then I
Wow.
implemented grounding every single day into the training regimen and
How much time?
30 minutes.
Wow, a solid amount.
Yes. Yeah. So when it was off the training, it was like I was gone for the day. I was going off to work. Bye, honey. Like I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so many of us don't understand what it takes to get to the level you're at. And just your grounding and affirmation visualization process is around 90 minutes a day. I mean, it just that alone blows people's mind because most of us have 8-hour jobs and per day, and we can barely get to the grocery store. And it's just
Yeah.
it's amazing to see like the different path someone like you has to take to get to that level.
Yeah, and there's no roadmap, right? Like there's no one telling you what to do. There are. I always thought no one knows me better than me. So
Hmm.
I have to do what's right for me in order to do the best I can do. And a lot of this was unconventional training mechanisms like ice skating or cross country skiing or sprints or yoga or rollerblading or biking, whatever it is. And that's actually the level I think it takes to be the best. It really does take that level of thinking and thinking about it methodically, really, really in depth, reaching in and figuring out what am I going to allocate my time to? How much time do I have until this big date, aka the Olympics? And for me, I had 12 years.
Right. It's insane, man.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's very impressive. No, I love the idea that there's not a roadmap. You have to find what works for you because I'm sure you have trainers and nutritionists and all these things that are relatively standardized. But even that has to be catered to you and your body and the injuries that you've experienced. And by the way, I'm shocked you don't have any real limb injuries. Everybody in your position's done their ACL, tib, fib, something like that. So congrats on the neck thing. Does not sound good, obviously.
Yeah.
But congrats on the other injuries not being so bad.
Thanks. I like to say I'm in the business of landing.
Yes, yeah, I like that too, and that is your reputation, right? And so, if my understanding is correct from the research I've done, your reputation is high amplitude, so getting quite a lot of air, and you're being quite exact, so landing on your feet, and I think that puts you in a good position to be 31 years old and win an Olympic medal, gold medal, right? Because your body's not taking quite as much abuse, hopefully. Although the amplitude is a risk, right? But the landing
Absolutely.
on your feet thing is great. I had a really random question. When you run sprints, do you time them?
Yes, I do certain different sets.
Like, do you know how fast you run a 40, for example? I'm always curious.
Not a 40 per se,
Okay.
but I have I have a hill where
Okay.
I train on 2 baseball fields.
Okay.
And in between the baseball fields is a pretty big hill, maybe 40 yards at, I don't know what inclination, but this.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'll do 10 sprints up it. Then I'll do another section that's shorter but on flat ground. And I'll do 10 sprints of that. And then I'll do another mini one and 10 sprints of that as fast as I can. And this is like
Wow.
where I'm
30
drinking my
sprints.
water bottles, where I'm drinking the sparkling orange Celsius, where I'm like really just sweating my balls off, getting it.
Yeah.
Like,
I bet. Damn. Like I have a little sprint routine now, and it's just 4 slightly uphill sprints.
it's
And,
hard.
and that's a lot. And you're talking about doing 30.
Yeah, and then it was always crazy, like on sprint mornings. You realize, like, or I don't know if you realize, but a lot of people, once you're out of high school or doing high school sports, you never sprint again.
No, that's it.
We're at
Or
the top of
jump.
the food chain. We're not sprinting anymore. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And unless you're running for your plane or whatever it is. So the sprints are hard on the body, but they're so good for the body and the mind because it just keeps everything. It's just so difficult, and it's this suffering that is actually unequatable to anything else that I think, because I always feel like I'm going to throw up afterwards. It sucks, but I
Yeah.
feel better at the end of the day or that week. I feel better, and then your stamina builds, and then discipline equals freedom. Jocko Willink, all over the place.
No, I feel like at the end of a good sprint, especially after my 4th one, it feels like there's not enough air in the world for me to ever breathe correctly again. And it's like, and I'm breathing as hard as I can, and it's not working. And it's like, wow, this is bad. Like, am I going to go down to my knees here?
Yeah.
But somehow you recover, and it's like you say, you really do feel incredibly good afterwards once you've completely baselined out. For me, it's like after a shower and a stretch. It's
Exactly.
like, oh, I feel buzzing right now.
Post-recovery, amazing.
Yeah, exactly. In the moment, not as good. And so I did just watch I believe it was on the 3rd run, your best run of the gold medal round, and you were murmuring something at the top. Did you notice you were doing that? And if so, what were you singing a song? Were you saying something to yourself?
Yeah, everyone's always asked me that, and I'm just going through my run. I'm saying
Oh, you are.
switch right double corked, switch right dub 10, Japan, no pop, land perfect. Okay, going across, left side double cork, 1620 safety. Little pop on this one, land perfect. So I'm just going through it like that.
Wow. All right. So when I do backflips in the park, I almost never pop because I don't know why. Is that good, bad, ugly? What should I do?
As long as you're getting a good, nice, soft landing, you're doing the right thing. Is what
So it
I'm.
doesn't matter. Because some of the park kids make fun of me. I'm like, I don't know. I try to pop. I thought I popped. They're like, you don't pop at all. I was like, but it works.
Yeah, if it were, don't fix it if it's not broken.
All right. I like that. So do you listen to music when you're competing? And if you do, why?
Yes, music on blast, usually EDM, and I can't ski without it. It's a good distraction. Plus, I felt at contests, at halfpipe contests, people were always lined against the walls, and you could hear what they were. I could hear what they were saying, and I didn't like that.
I like that. Okay. So I actually looked into this because I assumed that you listen to music because I think you'd probably agree almost everybody does in your sport.
At least 80%.
Okay, cool. And so one of the things you've probably looked at is arousal regulation. And this is the research I did, it's called the Yerkes-Dodson law, which who knows, people always name this crap after themselves. I hate that. But at its core, it's a classic concept in performance science saying that you want to be at an optimal level of arousal, not too calm, not too stressed. So if you're not feeling aroused enough, you listen to something that pumps you up. If you're feeling kind of jittery, you might listen to something mellow. And you say EDM, and I'm not totally familiar. I think that means electronic drum music, or what is that?
Sorry, BPM, beats per minute. So yeah, electronic, techno, whatever music.
Okay, so you listen to upbeat stuff.
Yes, high beats per minute.
High beats per minute. So that gets you fired up. So you're looking for up-tempo music, which will increase arousal. So that helps you get to that place you need to go. And there's so much else. I looked into this. So I can't even get to it all, but I'll just list things because these might touch upon your experience. Dopamine, the number 2 is dopamine and reward system activation. So basically positive mood, helping you feel motivated, drive to perform. So I'm guessing you feel that too. Reduced perception of effort. This was the most interesting to me. So music can reduce the rate of perceived exertion. And they say by 5 to 10%. How do they measure that? I don't know. I looked into the studies. But I'm curious if you notice that as well, because they say in your world of pipe skiing, you might see less perceived fatigue, more commitment to tricks, maybe a better ability to push the amplitude or the height of your jumps. Do you notice this concept, this reduced perception of effort?
I've never heard of this being conveyed, but yes, I resonate with this very, very well. Absolutely.
It makes sense. Okay.
I don't know what it is, but so I'll have a playlist, and then I will, as I'm going to the event, I will pick a song. Once I land on a song that hits the melody perfectly acutely in my ear, that gets me just the right amount of, I don't know, jazz, and then I will replay that song all night, or the whole contest all long.
Whoa, okay.
Coders do this.
And these songs don't have words, right? So they're
No, they
a
have
little more.
words. They have words.
Oh, they have words too. How long are they?
It depends. It just depends on the song. But what I won to at the Olympics was Avicii Levels.
Oh my gosh! I just put that on a video that we published of just
Yeah.
people skiing main chute at Alta the other day.
Amazing
That's a
song.
great song.
Yeah.
How
could that not Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I love that song. Okay, so that actually, so we can look that up too if you don't know familiar with that song, Avicii Levels. And I think anybody, well, at least say anybody under maybe 70 years old will know that song and know that, like, when they hear that, I feel positive, me personally at least, I feel invigorated. So I'm feeling motivated. It's like, oh yeah, let's go. So, that's
And
really
if you're
cool to hear.
listening to the lyrics, what it's saying is, oh, sometimes I get a good feeling. So it's putting crazy amounts of positivity about to drop in to the most important run of my life. If you think
I
about
get
it,
a feeling like I've never had before, which is a sample from an Etta James songs, I believe, from the 1960s.
Didn't know that. Love that song, if so.
Yeah, look her up. Etta James is one of my favorites, and the song is obviously very different, but that's how she begins the song, I believe, and because she just has this voice that is uncomparable.
Love that.
Wow, this is great. Well, we're getting towards the end here, so
honestly, you don't have to rush. We'll do whatever.
Oh, if you have more time, I'll take it, Alex, because this is very interesting.
Absolutely.
To talk to a high-level athlete, but end up only talking about cerebral cortex things is really cool to me. So the other things I saw with music is that it can, and I think you'd agree with this, attentional focus and flow state. So maybe just helping you get into that flow state. I think that's kind of what you just said. And then rhythm and motor coordination. This seems hard to prove, but it says it can naturally sync movements to rhythm. So I do think it's interesting that you listen to a variety of songs, find one that you like, which I think is also almost a stressful process, that you have to find this great song, and it might be different from every competition. But evidence shows that this movement might become more efficient, more consistent, better timed if you find that right song. And so do you think that could be part of what your experience as well with music?
No question. Absolutely.
I love that. And then so let's just keep rolling. Reduced anxiety. This is huge for me. So I've noticed as I've gotten older, I listen to a lot more relaxing songs. Like I love Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong and stuff like this, because I feel like, the world is a little bit anxiety inducing, and I listen to this music, it calms me down. And even back in the day when I was in my 20s and first dropping lines like "Once is enough" at Kirkwood, which is kind of like a chimney-esque straight line scary thing, I would play Bob Marley songs in my head.
Yeah.
And kind of sing them out loud before I dropped, because that helped bring me down. Everybody's different, right? And so do you think that the music might help with anxiety as well?
No question. I mean, my girlfriend and I were talking about it on the ski slopes yesterday. She goes, sometimes when nobody's around, I'll just sing to myself. And I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, I do the exact same thing. It's, I don't know, it's a calming feeling, especially during skiing.
That's so cool, man. And the last one I thought was really interesting is identity and emotional state control. So athletes don't just use music for energy, they can use it to become a version of themselves. And I'm sure that half pipe, standing in the gates, Olympic gold medal on the line is not your everyday self. No. And so again, the example is kind of similar. Aggressive music, confidence and dominance; chill music, calm, precision. And so, I'm curious your thoughts there, like getting you to this place that you have to be. That's not always you, but you got to get there now, and the music can help you find that spot.
Yeah, and every day is different, right? Like something calming, Four Non-Blondes, What's Up, has won me events too.
No way. Okay, so you have used calm music before.
Yeah, it just depends on the day that you wake. This is what I'm saying. When you find a playlist and then finding the song that hits your ear canal perfectly, my ear canal perfectly, and delivers the best melody that makes me feel good. Because a lot of the times when we're at a halfpipe competition, it's scary. Yeah. We're jumping from 22 feet out onto pure ice, and there's a lot of risk involved. It's like, oh shit, I want to feel as good as I possibly can feel.
I love that, man. And and you want to use every tool you can get there. I almost feel like that process of finding the right song sounds, I don't want to say stressful, but it sounds like a challenge. What is your strategy for finding that? Are you listening to random playlists, or do you build things ahead of time, or are you just kind of on like, I don't even know how, maybe on Spotify you can hit random. How do you find those songs?
I will have a playlist built, and then I will just go through that playlist, and it'll be usually on the drive over to wherever I'm going.
Okay, nice.
I'll usually find it pretty quickly, but like you said, sometimes it is stressful to find a song, and it's like really coming down to the wire. Even sometimes, for example, this past X Games, I'm standing at the top before my third and final run, and I couldn't find a song. The first two runs, I was just like, I can't find it. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so it could be a little bit stressful.
And this was the latest ever. And then my music was paused for just a moment, and they were doing a commercial break, and at the bottom of X Games, the DJ was playing Levels by Avicii.
No way.
So then I thought, oh my God, I love this song. And I put it on right away, and then I landed that third run, and I got onto the podium. It's like, you just do whatever works.
Yep.
As long as you're listening and actually focused in the present moment, aka in tune with the universe, then you are paying attention, and it will come to you. I'm a firm believer in that.
And it's especially your sport, but so many sports, it's so much more cerebral than we realize. And as we said before, your brain is a super tanker, and that whole damn thing is your subconscious, and your consciousness is this little compartment in the hold. And so really tapping into what is going to make that vehicle feel good is just going to be so different for everybody.
Absolutely. And that's like, it really comes down to overall health. Like, you're able to focus in when you are living a healthy lifestyle, right? And being in the moment. It's like, I'm so grateful to live fit and be with a company like Celsius in that nature, right? So like everything is so well packaged up in my world, and I'm thinking about it so deeply all the time. And you're like, wow, that's kind of narcissistic and a bit selfish at times, Alex. And you're thinking, well, yes, it is, but this is what it's going to take to get to the top.
There's no question. I mean, I remember listening to Michael Jordan, and he's like, "Yeah, I miss my grandma's birthday party."
Oh, yeah.
And I know that sounds bad, and I know that looks bad, and I know that sounds selfish, but that's the kind of thing it takes to get to where I'm at. I can't be missing training. I can't be missing games. I can't be missing these things that I have to do to put myself in the best position to win.
It sounds terrible. I missed my grandmother's funeral. I missed countless birthdays. I missed countless weddings. I missed countless parties, whatever it is, to be here in the moment, to push myself as far as I possibly can, and just to see what the limit is, I guess.
That is a quote, man. Wow. I'm going to write that down. That was beautiful. And we'll take it from that sort of quote of beauty to where I think the real beauty in your skiing lives. And I think that's in Hot Dogs Hans. And is it Hot Dog Hans or is it Hans? What do you say?
I say Hans.
Hans, yeah, because that's the right way to say it. Hans. So you got to tell, where the hell did Hot Dog Hans come from? And tell us, who is Hot Dog Hans?
Yeah, basically, Hot Dog Hans, I dress up like an old man and I mess with people on the ski slopes. And we have great prosthetics and we totally go above and beyond and we push the line and we are trying to find an original creative outlet to unleash our humor. But for the most part, it originated obviously from Uncle Drew and Kyrie Irving, the basketball player.
Yes, I love that.
So a friend showed me that and said, hey, we should do this for skiing. And it'll be a great opportunity for you to get clickbait and all this stuff and grow your channel. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And then within the first 15 minutes of doing it, I realized, whoa, this is not clickbait. This is a full-blown character. People love this guy. They hate him. There's controversy about him. And it's fun, above all. Above all, we're having fun and we're creating content and getting it out there and hopefully making people laugh. And it came out, its first one, during COVID, and we realized everyone was going through a really hard time, so we need to lighten the mood here a little bit. Let's make people laugh. Let's make them joke around. So that's where Hans originated from.
So, and Uncle Drew with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is a very famous basketball player who won championships with LeBron James on the Cavs, and he is one of the very best basketball players who's ever been. He's a guard. And so when he plays this other alternate character, he acts like he's old, and so people don't think he's rad, and he kind of talks smack, and then he goes out there and crushes people. And so, and Hot Dog Hans is similar, right? And so he comes out, he looks old. So I guess to start, how old do you think he is supposed to be, and who does your makeup, and how long does it take to put that makeup on?
Yeah, so his age changes pretty much every time the mask goes on. The makeup artist is Todd Debersini, and he owns Bappo FX, which is his prosthetic company. Basically, Todd lives in Arvada, Denver, and we hired him unknowingly that he wrote all of the textbooks on prosthetic Hollywood makeup in all of America.
Oh, wow.
So he's on his 4th edition, and we just really got very lucky being partnered up with one of the best of the best. And he's the oldest member of our crew. I think he's clocking in at 71, 72 years old. Nice. So he's fits right in with us, and it's all good. It's hilarious. Originally, when we were doing the makeup, it was taking about an hour and a half, 2-3 hours to get on.
Wow.
I did a life cast, which is basically a mold of your face, and now it's closer to 45 to an hour to put on and about 30 minutes to take off.
But so that just shows you that level of dedication. For our listeners who haven't seen this, it looks real. He looks like, and I would guess he looks like he's about 70. He looks old, he's got like long gray hair and his face is really wrinkled and got some sun damage. And obviously I was so curious about who does the makeup because it looks so real.
Yeah.
So now let's move to, and then he's got a belly, so you must have some kind of like, prosthetic belly in there. And he wears funky old like denim clothing, like Canadian tuxedo. But I love how rude he is and what a dick he is to people. The mom jokes, the being mean to little kids, the drinking, the gambling, the police encounters, hitting on chicks. Out of the way, jackass! And the voice, it's hilarious. And where did all that come from?
I can't say for certain, but I have an older grandfather. He's like 89 or 87 years old, and his nickname is Inappropriate Bob because he always crosses the line. So basically, I was just a lot of the time acting like my grandfather, which is
that's so good.
Not the really bad stuff, but certainly the little stuff is all taking from him.
That's so good. And tell me about the voice. Where did that come from?
The voice was just natural. I didn't know what to do,
Uh-huh.
and we were running out of time, and I felt like I needed to change things up or people would notice my gait and my voice. So I just, I don't know, threw it together.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, the voice is kind of like a little more high pitched and old, and
Yeah, a little more Southie Boston.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's got a little bit of that. And then these are very highly produced to me. How much time does it take to film these? Do people write scripts? It seems to be produced.
Yeah, certainly we take a lot of pride in our work. All of the filming and producing is done by Vital Films. My business partner, Matt Hobbs, and his other business partner, Cale Jones, own the business. So together we've come together and created this monster, if you will. And we have a full-blown crew, at least 3 or 4 cameramen at all times, APs that are helping us all the time, sound guy, makeup artist, myself, which is the skier slash actor, whatever you want to call it,
You're the
and
talent.
director Matt. So it's a full-blown production for sure.
And they're beautiful. And the narrator, gosh, it sounds like Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, and a voice guy, absolutely. So basically, it was all the first few, and still to this day, it's a ton of ad lib. We are flying by the seat of our pants, basically. And yeah, it's a lot of just some of it. We try and have an overall theme and stick to that theme. But for the most part, we're running. We have no idea. We're just going.
Well, that's how good improv is. I was actually randomly doing quote unquote research on the scene in Caddyshack where Bill Murray and Chevy Chase are together. And I don't know if you know that, like Cannonball coming, they're like smoking a joint and drinking some kind of terrible wine. The director, I forget, Harold Ramis or somebody, he decided we don't have a scene with our 2 most famous actors together. So they kind of came up with one and they just had bullet points. So like, all right, like say something about the joint, say something about the drinking, say something about Cannonball. Like there was these very basic points. And so maybe that's what you guys do. And then in between you fill it in.
Exactly.
And I think that's when the magic happens. And that's maybe the best scene in that movie.
Couldn't agree more. That's where the magic happens. You just fill it in, you go for it, you kind of just thinking on the fly, just doing, not really thinking all that much.
How important is humor in your life and your career? And do you think that humor and maybe that hot dog Hans outlet is helpful for you?
Yeah, I think on a fundamental basis, I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. Is where I really start out. And then secondly speaking, this is more facetious, but I think that I can finally be myself when I'm Hans a little bit.
You can let go, right? Like there's some psychology, sorry to interrupt, behind wearing a costume.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of that is letting go. It's like you can, because we're all kind of playing a role in wearing a mask in our everyday. And so when you can take that role off and you can take that everyday mask off, there's some real freedom there.
I mean, just the dichotomy of Hans, this beer drinking, dickhead skier, old timer, out of control, and then you have Alex, who's going to sleep early, living fit every day, working out, crushing it. It's just 2 completely different things, and we've been able to play off of them and try and use them as leverage against each other almost.
It's really beautiful. Like you said, that dichotomy, that juxtaposition is really special. And I'm sure that creativity is really exciting for you.
The creativity is huge. It's just for any man, woman on this planet, you need to keep growing and being as creative as possible and eventually reaching Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So it's just a part of it. Like you have to be creative in order to keep living a good life.
Tell us more about Maslow's hierarchy, because I saw that might have meant something to you. And tell us what it is and what it means for you.
I don't exactly know what it is, but basically it's a basket of things that you would need in order to become the ideal man or the purposeful man. Funny enough, like a couple years ago, I was playing golf at the Muni course in Aspen, and who do I get partnered with? Henry's granddaughter, Linda. So I would just learn shit like that and just be in these random weird positions. But basically, yeah, you need to, in order to be your own man, you would essentially need to create your own business that helps the surrounding community, is essentially what it is, as I take it as.
And that's all that matters. And then I guess my last thing with Hans, honestly, unless you have something else to add, is I didn't know you were Hans. I mean, I knew somebody good at skiing was Hans. And so, but the idea like the world champion halfpipe guy, and I think that's putting you in a box because I know that you're probably a very good free skier. And I've seen in your Hot Dog Hans videos that you're great at regular terrain park jumps and all this stuff. To me, I love the idea that Hot Dog Hans is a world champion free skier.
Yeah.
Kind of in his prime, right? Like
yeah.
it's pretty exciting to see. And I guess last question is, why do you think people love Hans so much? And do people think he's real? Like, what do people think in real life? Do they figure it out that you're actually young, or does it take them a while, or what's that sort of threshold?
Certainly some people think he's real. Yes.
Yeah.
Not as much as they did the very first one, the very
Because
first
now people
edition
have
of
seen your
Hans,
videos.
because people have seen the videos. But a lot of the time, people have no idea Hans is actually me. They might think it's some younger guy dressed up, but they don't actually know, oh, it's Alex, who's now won the Olympics or was the best halfpipe skier for a time or whatever it is. I don't think they know that very much, no.
Well, it's exciting too that some people hopefully do think it's just some old guy, and then when you go do a double cork or something, their minds just explode.
Yeah.
That's sort of the goal.
I don't know why people love him so much. They certainly love him more than Alex, that's for sure, which is fine by me.
Yeah, and like I have no idea because I don't follow park and pipe as closely as I should, but people might know Hot Dog Hans more than you in some circles.
Not in some circles, all circles.
Okay. I didn't want to I was tiptoeing there. You felt me.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings here, but
No.
and that I think is something to be super proud of.
I appreciate you saying that. We're just trying to create something great, and hopefully people love it and enjoy it and continue to do so.
Well, because like you said, this sport is kind of egotistical and selfish, and that you can set that all aside and just be like, I'm going to just be a total weirdo and see how people react. And I think that's really fun, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, hey, that's all I got for you, Alex. If you'd like to share anything else at the end of the show, please let me know.
No, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. Thanks for having me on. If anyone's looking to find me in other places, you can do alexferreira.us, Alex Ferreira Ski for Instagram, and then Hot Dog Hans for all channels, which is YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok.
Thank you so much for listening to the SnowBrains podcast. If you liked this podcast, please share with friends and family, and please be sure to subscribe. To find out more about SnowBrains, please visit us at snowbrains.com. You can also find us on Instagram, X, Facebook, and more. This episode of the SnowBrains podcast was edited by Liam Abbott, and I'm your host, Miles Clark.